Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today we're going to be taking a look at a very cool update for Star Wars Battlefront 2. There's a lot of content in this update. Felucia, a brand new planet, a brand new map, is included. It's a beautiful alien jungle world that was very briefly showed off in Star Wars Episode 3 when the Emperor's like, execute Order 66. And then they do like a montage of killing off Jedi in different battles basically, and one of them's on Felucia. Well, then in the Clone Wars they do some more missions on this planet and flesh it out a little bit more, show off more of what's going on there. And then Star Wars Battlefront 2 has done a more realistic rendition of what this planet looks like, or at least more on par with what was shown in Episode 3. And it looks beautiful. It's very colorful, very jungly. Not the first jungle map we have in the game, but it looks neat. It's cool seeing all these brand new assets in the game. There's a beautiful battle going on in the background of the map. There's new interesting alien creatures, sort of these purple dragony pterodactyl type things that fly around. They've done a great job at world crafting here. It feels like a real planet. There's a huge amount of work that actually goes into this, and it's something that I definitely appreciate and respect. It looks like a brand new world. It doesn't feel like EA sort of cut any corners here. It looks incredible. Probably the best rendition of this planet that we've seen in any sort of Star Wars media, whether it's a movie or a TV show or another video game or something. This really does look incredible, and I appreciate that. In terms of how the map plays out, it's hard to gauge so far. It does seem a little bit chaotic. It does feel like we're just kind of running through some roads in the middle of an alien jungle. So yeah, expect that a little bit. There's already a jungle map in the game, and so you might find some similar gameplay there. But I do want to play it more and test it out more and see how it plays in slightly different variations and modes. Also, there's a new class, which is very much a throwback to some people who might remember Star Wars Republic Commando. Well, you can now play the Republic Commando, and he looks cool. He looks a little cheesy. He's got some of those thick thighs going on, but if you are a fan of that game, then you'll be like, oh my god, they actually put this guy in Star Wars Battlefront 2. I think it's really cool because a lot of people have wanted a follow-up to Star Wars Republic Commando, and we never got one. So in a way, EA's like, hey, here you go. If you want to play as the Star Wars Republic Commando, he is now an Enforcer class with his own unique set of abilities. He's even got an ability that's basically similar to a Force Push, which is pretty cool. He's got an ability that lets him armor up or take less damage, and all the damage he does heals him back up, so he can become sort of this life-stealing tank for a short period of time. And he's got a grenade launcher, which takes a little while to switch to. It's part of his weapon, I guess, and he like switches it over to a grenade launcher that can shoot 3 rounds. It's not bad, but you don't want to be caught with your pants down with that thing out because it takes a while to switch away from. But he looks cool. It's neat. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a first-person camera mode for him, which I think a lot of people wanted, since in Republic Commando, I believe it's mostly a first-person game, and it would have just been cool to see his blaster from a first-person perspective. But, you know, considering all the content that they've added here, it's just a minor grievance. Now, there's also another really cool feature that's been added to this game that I think a lot of legacy, old-school Star Wars Battlefront fans will remember from the original games before EA rebooted them. They had the ability to play all the base game modes against AI. And EA has integrated AI in various ways throughout Star Wars Battlefront 2 so far, mostly just with infantry and with some of the aircraft and stuff like that. But now they've added 2 new game modes that are going to integrate AI in a new way. AI will now be able to take over hero classes and operate some of the more advanced classes like Enforcers and Jetpack classes and stuff like that. And you'll be able to play an instant action mode that's by yourself if you want, where you play alongside AI and against AI in a mode that looks essentially like a multiplayer mode, where you can experience all the normal things that you would have been able to experience in multiplayer, but instead playing against bots. And you can set the difficulty level on the bots. You can change basically a lot of settings in the game that will help you cater the experience to whatever you're looking for. And what's cool about this is that it can give you a much more cinematic view of Star Wars Battlefront. Sometimes when you're playing multiplayer, people are using whatever tactics are available to them to try and win, to try and defeat you. And that can often result in you just peeking around a corner and getting your head blown off by a sniper rifle or a rocket launcher or something. And maybe you're not experiencing this grandiose battle that you were sort of expecting to see. You were expecting to be enthralled in this large Star Wars battlefield and just enjoying the crazy explosions and chaos of it all, but because of the intense competitive nature of multiplayer shooters, perhaps you're just getting killed and thrashed over and over and over again and not enjoying that as much. That's where the AI experience really comes in with the instant action feature. So it does let you have that bigger feeling battle, but just with AI. And having played it out, tested it a bit, it's fun. And it's also a great way to test out classes, to rank up classes, to work on playstyles or builds or something like that. It seems actually like an extremely useful feature, even if you are a veteran or a decent player, but you wanna just try and work on some stuff. I mean, you could even use it as sort of a practice range, right? Like a gun range if you're working on your aim or whatnot. The AI do dodge, they wiggle back and forth, they roll, all that kind of stuff. Even on the lesser difficult settings, they're going to be somewhat dodgy. It's also an excellent way to get all the heroes that you might be fighting over in multiplayer. One of the main tactics in multiplayer is just to get score as quickly as possible until you have enough to unlock a hero. Then you die, grab that hero, and then try and keep that hero for as long as possible, which can make it difficult to test out heroes if you're just playing casually for fun in multiplayer. This will let you get those heroes pretty much as a guarantee every time, assuming that you can get enough score, kill bots, capture points, and stuff like that. You should be able to get your heroes and test them out and play with them a bit more so that you can get a good feel for them, so that by the time you actually do unlock one in multiplayer, you're not just like, well, what's this button do? You know, so it's absolutely excellent for that. Now, the other side of this new AI implementation is a new game mode called Co-op. And Co-op cycles through a lot of the maps in a 4-player squad assault style game mode. So you're not playing against other players, you're playing against AI, but the AI are defending a series of capture points, and once you capture one, you have to move on to the next series of capture points, and so on and so forth. Very much a rush, a push style game mode, but you're fighting a ton of AI. It's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. I'm like, certainly for skilled players, unlocking higher classes and heroes and stuff like that should have no problem capturing a couple points in this game. It was actually very difficult. We didn't win all of them, but it was certainly a lot of fun trying. It's intense from start to finish. Also another great mode for ranking up classes and testing out heroes. Because again, there's only 4 people there, so it's far less competitive when it comes to unlocking classes and heroes and stuff like that. So you should be able to get quite a lot of XP and ranking up and new cards and all that stuff. So I actually think co-op was pretty fun for the most part. The challenge element of it is always welcome. That's one thing that I've felt about AI modes, like players versus AI. The few games that I've really enjoyed playing against AI, which would have been like Left 4 Dead or something, is the challenge factor usually comes in like the waves, the quantity of enemies, and the fact that they hit you from a lot of different angles and stuff like that. You really have to be on point. You have to be communicating, or you just have to like really be hitting all your shots in order to survive. When you're up against lesser AIs, usually it's balanced out in a not so interesting way where they just become bullet sponges or something like that. So I really like how it was done in co-op, because it really does feel like you're just up against an endless swarm of enemies, and you are like end up being a like god tier hero at the end, but you're still being challenged because of the quantity, and that's really fun. There's also a few quality of life updates and changes. There's a new indicator that shows when an enemy has a damage reduction ability activated, and it'll show you a different hit marker when you're shooting them. So it sort of lets you know like, hey, this person's activated their sort of damage reducer, so you might want to save your ammo, your cooldown until that wears out or something like that. They've also changed some of the hero cooldowns. If they're using an ability that gets interrupted, you will no longer have a cooldown on that ability again, so you can get it back. And there's been a whole other plethora of tiny changes and stuff like that, which if you want to know about, you can check the patch notes. I'll have them linked in the video description. Overall, this is a very solid update for Star Wars Battlefront 2. A lot of nostalgia in here with the Republic Commando, Felucia, and finally the much more expanded AI game mode that players have enjoyed from the very old school Star Wars Battlefront game. This is very solid for the game overall. I've enjoyed it so far. I'm planning on playing it a bit more. Check it out if you guys have enjoyed Star Wars Battlefront 2 so far. You haven't played it in a while. There's quite a bit of new content. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.